And this is a good segue. This is a good segue we're about to go into now. So we're gonna have our first special guest for the night is my boy, my frat brother, Karan. Karan, he'll be on in. Can we get Karan in the studio? There we go. My brother, he's coming on right now.
How are you?
Right.
What's going on, brother? What's up, my brother? What's up, brother? Welcome.
Y'all can hear me good?
Yeah, we hear you, man. We got you.
I got a question for y'all. Is every guest special, or am I just the
No,
special?
you're super special.
You're special.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I'm glad I didn't answer. I almost answered that wrong. what they said.
Listen, Ron. You know any sponsors that might want to be on this show?
We need all the help we can get.
We need all the help we can get, man.
You know, how about y'all call your local council member to sponsor the show? What's up with that? I'm listening to y'all.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I wanted to add to that. Like, people talk about, voting for the presidency and all that stuff, but the most important votes is for your congressmen, your local politicians. Those are the people that get things changed in your community. Those are the people you have immediate access to. You don't have access to the president.
First, hold on. Let's get Karan's background. Karan, tell people a little about yourself and what you just ran for and stuff like that.
Okay, so check it. Before I even get into me, brothers, I must say thank you for the conversation that y'all are continuing to have every week. My wife makes sure to put it on, and we sit back, we rock back, and just listen to y'all divvy it up. In terms of let's chop it up, it is definitely barbershop talk. It's conversation that I'll be having with my boys anyway. So I really appreciate the fact that y'all have created this platform and continue to have this dialogue, especially around this time where people need this sort of content to keep them sane and to also help them make decisions as they move forward. So thank all of you for what you've been doing.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, Karan. Appreciate it.
I will send Karan's check to him via
Cash App.
I appreciate it. But myself, I'm locally involved, like in everything. I'm a local community gardener. I have a garden around around the corner from my house with a bunch of community residents that are a part of it. I was the president of the former block that I was on, the block association. I was appointed to the local community board. I don't know if everybody's familiar with community boards, but community boards are local municipal bodies that are responsible for the enhancement of service delivery. There's 50 people that either live, work, or have a special relationship that are appointed by your local council members to the community board. The borough president appoints all 50, but the recommendations come from the local council members. Think about that. I now currently work for the district office of my local community board. So I went from sitting on the board to now being a part of the 9 to 5 operations of enhancing service delivery and what that looks like. And then I got real ambitious and I put my hat in the ring to run for local office for state senate to represent the 19th senatorial district, which encompasses East New York, Canarsie, a piece of Brownsville, Mill Basin, Old Mill Basin, basically all of Southeast Brooklyn, black district. At the end of the day, and
black is dope.
Black.
Very black.
You got your flavor of Caribbean peppers in one section. You got your Southern belles that are up north. You got your people that diehard Brooklyn, et cetera, all different bits and pieces of the diaspora in this particular district. And in a 2-man race, we came in second, which is not the worst thing. We got over 6,000 votes, which was an accomplishment within itself. When we launched our campaign January 20th on King Day, the guiding principle and quote, "The time is always right to do what's right," is what we used. And in presenting that to the residents of the district for them to make a decision about the future, do they want radical change or do they want what has been the consistent, regular status quo that you've kind of dealt with but are now fully in tune to? When we launched the campaign, we didn't expect a global pandemic to take over our lives and immediately have to pivot to a digital apparatus. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. And I'm married and I have a 4-year-old. So when I say it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, I truly mean it, stacking it up against those things, because it was important for me to not only watch my 4-year-old son in his face and recognize that I could leave him all the money in the world. I could leave him the house I could leave him a bunch of things, but if I'm really about something, I'm going to leave him with a better condition than I inherited, not financially, but also a part of the community. I grew up in East New York. I've been here since I was 3 years old. My parents came here from Trinidad, had me. My wife has the same story with her parents coming here from Trinidad, having her, and us being together, my grandparents being on the block over, understanding the intergenerational and experiences of so many people. I recognize that with the time being right to do what's right, we can't continue to sit back and just have dialogue about the things that are happening around us. It's not creating the change we wish to see. And I know Damon probably wasn't expecting that long introduction.
No. I got. No, that's a good introduction. I got one thing. Since you West Indian, can you pop your finger like this? Like all West Indians can snap their finger. Can you do that?
There you go. He was Indian. There you go. He did it. Yeah.
Some people can't do that popping finger thing, man. We can't. That doesn't work for us. But real quick question. So you said we did go into this whole new online thing and internet, and one of the challenges that we had during this process, during this time, during this pandemic, was collecting data of the census. And the thing is now, like you see, like the Republican Party are trying to basically juke and scam us all out of the proper data and collecting of data of the census. And I know you're one of the big advocates of the census, and you talk about a lot on your own personal platform. Mm-hmm. What do you say? What do you say? Can you educate the people? What if we don't get a good collection of the census? What are we jeopardizing?
Everything you see around you, the census, the money that is going to be dished out because of what the census is. The census is a count of all the individuals that live in the United States. That's regardless of citizenship, regardless of financial status. As long as you are in the United States of America, you are supposed to be counted. And the simplest way that I heard this census explained, in terms of just everybody getting it, if there's 10 people in the house and only 5 of you are counted in the census, you absorb the amount of resources for 10 people, but they have you counted for 5. So they're going to allocate the funding for 5 people, for the things that you might need. So just of various examples, when you think about schools, you have your local schools. Around the corner for me, I grew up going to public school 202. If only 5 students are counted and we need the resources for 100, and this is an extreme example, we need the resources for 100 students because it services this great big area, and you didn't respond to the census, you are jeopardizing the future of your children. We got 5 textbooks now because we only counted 5 students. How are 100 students going to deal with just 5 textbooks? So that's the simplest way to think about it. But when you think about the census is big money. You're talking about $675 billion per year divvied up locally for our communities for everything that you could think of.
All kind of stuff.
So basically, by you not counting yourself in the census, you're basically throwing the community into a backlog. We're short on everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And traditionally, because our history calls for this, so we haven't shot ourselves in the foot. America has shot us in the foot and lynched us and all kinds of other stuff. But when you think about the census traditionally, what's the response that you might get from your parents? I'm not sending them my information. They're not going to know my business. We're real particular about our business, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell the government that Uncle Larry has been on the couch in our house for the past 6 months or something like that. But Uncle Larry needs to be counted. Uncle Larry is riding a train at New Lots in East New York. Uncle Larry needs to be counted. Uncle Larry is parking his car when he's not taking the train, and his car is a part of the erosion of and causing the potholes in the street. Uncle Larry's a part of all of that. Uncle Larry needs fresh food in the community. He needs fresh food from Country Farm, and I'm naming places and spaces that y'all may not be familiar with, but this is literally my community. So Uncle Larry needs to be counted. Not only Uncle Larry, but your son, daughter that might be away at college but is back home, they need to be counted. And Damon did highlight this, but like we did a lot of work for the census in this cycle, and it is now since passed, but responding to the census is by far one of the most important things that you could do. And I'll close with this just to really make it hit home. I just turned 30. So my 40-year-old self, for those of you that filled out the census, thanks you. Because, when I'm older, think about it, Chadwick Boseman, 39 years old, passes away. We got to get more checkups. We gotta do all the colonoscopy oscopies and all the things that we need to do. I need to be able to do that right here in my own community. So if the funds are not there at those health centers, I'm gonna have a problem. I might put it off, and then be in a situation where it's no good. So my 40-year-old self thanks you. I have a 4-year-old son. His 14-year-old self thanks you for doing the census, because those funds are going to be allocated for the next 10 years affecting our lives. My mom is 56. Her 66-year-old self, when she retires, thanks you, because these funds that are going to be dished out and doled out through the census, and it's not just a financial thing. I would definitely be selling y'all short with that. The census is directly connected to representation. So
yeah, I was going to ask a question along those lines. Like, what about people? You have people with various immigration statuses. You know what I mean? And you may be a little reluctant, maybe, to fill out a census form. How does the census affect them?
Yeah, and the brothers and sisters are incarcerated, because now upstate gets to count them.
Yeah, upstate gets to count them. So that's the thing about this system. It's never been really used to the benefit of us. Even when we get hip to it, they shoot us in the foot. So in 1790, when I think the first census was conducted, we were counted as 3/5 of a person. Even though we were whole people, we were counted as 3/5. So this is the start of the census. Why is that important to note? It's important to note because a lot of people think, well, how come the census is now suddenly important? It's always been important. That's why they counted us as 3/5 of a human being, because the connection between representation and the census numbers is so important. The South would have had more representation in the House of Representatives if we were going by whole people. Right. So 3/5 was so that there would be some semblance of balance between North and South, and the battle around slavery. When you think about it, the census was a battle about us. About how we're going to count these people, because it's directly tied to representation. Fast forward to where we're at now. Most folks are discouraged from filling out the census because you don't want people in your business, et cetera, et cetera. But living in a state like New York, I don't know where everybody's from or where everybody's at.
Everybody in this room is from New York.
No doubt. Okay, cool. And we've lost, I think, since 1950, like 2 seats because of the undercounting that has happened. This census year, as challenging as it's been, think about it. Census Day is April 1st. What was happening in the city April 1st? Everybody was on the couch. Everybody was on the couch.
Or sick.
Yeah, or sick. And when you think about how the census, how they send out enumerators, which are the people who come knock on your door, have you filled out your census? This was the first age of social media for the census. It was the first time the census you could respond online, which is wild when you think about it. It's the first time that you could call and do your census. This was the first time those things were implemented. Before, you just had to do it by mail, and we already know the problems that we have with mail.